Guru from the Contact Trio podcast, coming to you from day number 2, Groundbreak 2017, live in Austin, Texas. I told you we're going to keep looking for new stuff, innovative things to talk about, and guess what I found this morning? I walked into Mr. Kris Lengieza, Josh Canner, talking from SmartVid.io. We're going to talk about some interesting concepts for job site photos, progress photos, videos. There's this crazy concept, Kris, I've heard, unstructured data.
Yeah, shocker. That seems to be the big topic du jour, right? Of trying to put all this data in one place and give it a little bit more of a structure so that we can actually do things with it, right? So I think Josh's company is doing a great thing with that, especially handling the photos, the videos, and all the tagging of that project. So I think he's got some great insights on that.
It's going to be a fun talk. What we really want to boil down to is the core thing. We hear lots of companies are using smartphones to take photos and videos. And we say, that's great. And then we say, what do you do with those?
Yeah.
Well, we email them to the office. We text them to the office. I say, okay, cool, they're at your office. Now what do you do? Well, they go on a server. And then, Kris, you already know how this goes. How long does it take to find that magical photo that you need? How long does that take?
You mean the one that's named JK7 6005 JPG and you have no idea what's in it, but you really need that photo of the rebar installation to prove that the inspection that there was 6 number 12s in there and not just 5 number 12s? Yeah, it takes forever to find that stuff. You'll dig for it for hours and hours, and then if you're lucky, you'll find it.
That's right, because how easy is it to go back to a Gantt chart schedule and your Outlook calendar and reference what day and time you think you might have potentially taken that photo, and then go to your server and go through the JPEGs and scroll. There's a date. Click. Wrong one. Scroll. It gets crazy. But
and that's if they're all in the same folder. God forbid you started breaking them out based on what you were doing that day, and that can throw all kinds of things, wacky on you. So you need a system that helps you manage all of these things to put them in place, and I think that's where Josh and his company really come in.
Absolutely. So, Josh, give us a little bit of background. What's your history? How did you get where you're at? What does your solution do for construction users?
Sure. Happy to do it. So we're a bunch of guys that have been working in construction technology since 2005, actually. We're a team that was part of the crew that built Vela Systems, which is now the Autodesk BIM 360 field product. So
interesting.
Yeah, back then, the new technology hitting the job site was tablet PCs and then iPads. So we tried to figure out how can we leverage that to change the way work is done in the field and then managed through data, actually, even going back to then. So more recently, we went back to a bunch of the customers from those early days, talked to field guys, talked to CIOs, exactly about the challenges you guys are talking about. All the photos getting created everywhere, managed in a whole bunch of different places, and even when they are managed in a system like Procore, there's still not really great tools to be able to find what you need to find. That's just not what those systems are set up for. So at the same time, you can go into a browser, and in Google, you can start searching for things like a car, or you can go on your phone. I actually did this the other day. I was trying to remember a specific beer that I had recommended to somebody, and you take a picture of something because that's what you do on your phone. You can now, in either your Google Android phone or your iOS phone, you can actually type in terms like beer, and it will find a beer can in your pictures. So it's
fascinating.
So in the consumer world, computers can now see.
Oh, yeah. So everybody listen, just think of this. We're talking about construction workflows, but don't forget how technology can make construction cool, but your life easier too, right?
A lot of people don't realize it, that over the last 6 months, your phone now can actually see what's in your pictures and you can search on that.
Unreal.
So what we did is we said, hey, why can't that technology be applied to help both the field, project level, as well as the enterprise company-wide challenges around photos and videos? So that's why we're here. We built the company on the back of this kind of technology, but now applied to construction so that you can find construction related things. We're just getting started. That's our background.
Cool. So Josh, great question here. I think, where do we have to collect all these photos? How do we get them into your system?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons you guys are here at the Procore Groundbreak, right? He's talking about your integration there.
Yep.
You also have an integration with BIM 360. So how did you make it easier for the user to actually get their photos into your system?
Yeah, so it's been a journey for us. Because we came from our Vela Systems roots, we went right to the field. And we said, hey, here's an app. You can take pictures, you can take video, that's where you start. And what we found is that some people use that, which is great, but then we also heard the bigger problem of all the pictures that are already in Procore or already in the servers or being texted around. So about 6 months ago, we adopted an integration first kind of policy because we actually had our customers talking about something that you blogged about recently, talking about app fatigue. And we realized that there's a way for us to add a ton of value to solve those problems, searching, finding, and using photos, using machine learning, using these techniques on the back end. So what we have now and why we're here is we built this really simple integration to Procore. Literally, it takes less than 90 seconds to connect up a project, and the data starts flowing automatically. You know, people in construction, having been in technology in this industry for over a decade now, everybody always wants integration, interoperability, all these things. It's now finally easy to do. You know, you can actually get it going. So what you can do with our stuff and why we're here is that integration is now two ways. So if you have a bunch of data in Procore in either an ongoing or even your old projects, you just sign into our system, you just sign into Procore through our system, you click go, and then the data starts flowing automatically. It's pretty cool, because then once it comes into our stuff, our special engine, we call it a smart tagging engine. We've given it a nickname, who's a field superintendent who was involved in actually originally developing our software. His name was Vinny, and he always remembered everything. So our AI is called Vinny. So Vinny will look at stuff, tag it, and then push the tags back into Procore, making Procore now searchable through computer vision. So I don't know if you can find beer in there, but you can definitely find things like cranes and scaffolding and other stuff.
I think we hope we don't find beer in there, but
Yeah.
maybe we do, so maybe that's the good thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can vouch for this, guys. I've done it on my projects. It is that easy. It's 5 or 6 clicks, and you start to see data flowing back and forth. And you know, I joked with Josh about it. I said, this is going to be the best product that I have ever bought that I'm not going to tell anybody about.
Yeah.
Because they're going to keep using their normal everyday workflows of just take your photos in Procore, send them up to Procore, and then all the magic's going to happen via SmartVid. That's going to allow us to search those photos, have one database to go everything for it, start to use that computer learning to look at, you know, some more complex questions. I know you guys have been doing some great things with safety. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So finding big stuff in a picture, finding columns, finding rebar, finding steel, that actually helps you get to a point in time. It's actually interesting. We have one of our customers, Suffolk, they just found a grounding rod because they were able to look on a whole bunch of different things. Because if you start thinking about how you search for stuff, instead of saying date or file name, you can now just try and remember what was in that picture, and it helps you triangulate a lot easier. So they were able to avoid chipping out the base of 2 columns.
Wow.
Which, I mean, you guys know that, how much
probably,
time
that probably paid for the software itself right
there. Yeah, many times over. But so that's one example of the big picture stuff we look for. To your question, what we're starting to do is we're starting to build much more detailed kinds of things that Vinny, the AI, can see. The first area we focused on is safety, because that's on everybody's minds. It's super important.
So you mean you're going to be able to see Rob's safety vest if he's wearing it or not?
Yeah, so we can take a picture, and next time we'll do a live demo. We can take a picture of you, and now Vinny can actually see whether or not you're wearing high-vis clothing and whether or not you have a hard hat on.
Yeah.
And then we go beyond that to be able to analyze every single person in a picture. So computer vision stuff, it will tell you kind of simple stuff like, hey, in this picture I see people in hard hats. To be safe, you actually need to know something a little more complicated. Is each person wearing a hard hat? Is each person wearing a safety vest? So what you start to get the picture.
Crazy inspection protocol right there.
Yeah, so you basically looks at all the folks, and we're continuing to add there. We're going to be putting we're starting with PPE, but then there's all kinds of trip and fall stuff that we can see, fall prevention, people on ladders, people on scaffolding.
You told me yesterday that you could tell me if I had a dirty job site. I am waiting to see this. Maybe we can get Mike Rowe to come over and we can talk about dirty jobs, and he can determine if, you know, they have dirty jobs in their pictures.
We'll give it a shot for sure. But it's interesting. That's one of those areas where safety and quality cross over. You know, if you look at predictive indicators, sort of leading indicators of quality issues, safety issues, housekeeping is typically at the top of the list. So what we're able to do is this is not replacing humans. It's not replacing the safety guy. It's not replacing the quality guy or your ops. What it's doing is it's expanding the reach. Because if, like any company, if you have, let's say, 40 projects, you probably have 10 safety guys, maybe 15 safety guys, right? How do they get to all the jobs? Well, if there's photos coming through Procore that are being gathered every day, every week for those other jobs, if Vinny can be sitting there and looking and then flagging stuff for your safety guys, hey, maybe you should take a look at this. Not to be real time, although that may come, but to say, hey, you may just want to keep an eye on these things. All of a sudden, it extends the reach of your safety team. and it lowers risk and makes you safer overall.
That's a phenomenal workflow. Even when I was walking job sites myself, you kind of get blinders on as you're walking through a site and you found a few things and you're still thinking about what you walked across 10 minutes ago. But wait, I got to be at this other job site by 3. You could literally walk by a hazard and you're just asleep at the switch.
Yeah.
But when you go back and review it, oh man, I walked right by that.
And it's interesting you mentioned that, Rob. Yeah, we have one customer. We're going to announce this at Future Tech coming up in June. They're putting in place a video-based safety walk process for the safety team.
Wow.
Which then they'll go back and they have a set of tags as keywords that we can listen in addition to see.
Wow.
And then we'll be able to do computer vision on the video too, so exactly that doesn't happen. And then they're going to pull those pieces of video and then use them as best practices in the company. And say, here's what you should look for, here's how you can find it, etc. So
that's a fantastic idea. I might steal that one.
No problem, man. It's interesting. The technology now on the capture too has gotten good enough where it's starting to work. Like the GoPro Session actually has noise canceling in it now. It was a big challenge for voice recognition in the field, but we're getting really good audio off of it, and it's able to do much better audio tagging in addition to the speech.
That's awesome.
We're super excited. We're big believers in data. That data must be free, and then it should be able to fly around because there's project value, but then there's value to the company as a whole.
Well, cool. Kris, thanks for joining me for the interview.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Josh, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for the tidbits. Once you release that next little thing at Future Tech, we probably need to talk about that on the show again. So.
Sounds good. Love to come back on.
Sounds good. This is the Con-App Guru from the Contact Trio podcast, coming to you live again from Groundbreak 2017. Who knows where we'll turn up next? Going to have a lot of fun. Stay with us for the rest of the day.